Words of my fan mail sound like. Exactly. Dear R.L. Stine, my teacher is forcing us to write to an author. And I chose you. Where do you get your ideas? That's every letter. Don't ask me where I get my ideas.
Costco?
And
ideas are this ephemeral thing. Anyone who wants to get into writing always wants to ask a prolific writer, you know, how do you mine those ideas? Like, when you get ideas, where are you normally when an idea kind of like pops into your head?
Could be anywhere, but I don't start with ideas. I think I work backwards from most authors. Serious answer. I always start with the title. I always have to have I think of a title, and then the title leads me to the idea. So I think most authors get an idea and they start working, and later they think of a title. But I can't start unless I have the title. A while ago, I was walking my dog in Riverside Park in New York, and this popped into my head. Little Shop of Hamsters. That's good, right? It's a good title. I thought, that's a great title. Now, how do I make hamsters scary? What do I do? That was the hard part. But it started with this title. And then I thought, well, wait, maybe there's a pet store that only sells hamsters. And maybe they have thousands of them in this big cage. And maybe a kid gets trapped. It wasn't a great book. It was just a great title. But that's how.
The idea of being trapped in a cage full of hamsters freaks me out.
And so I would say that 90% of my ideas come from the title first. I can only think of one idea for one book that actually came from real life. How many of you have read The Haunted Mask? You know, oh my goodness. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, it's about a girl named Carly Beth who puts on the haunted mask and it sticks to her face and she can't get it off. It becomes part of her face and it turns her evil. Now here's where the idea for this book came from true life. When my son Matt was a little guy, he was little, it was Halloween time, and he was trying on a green rubber Frankenstein mask. And he pulled it down over his head, and he couldn't get it off. I'm watching from the doorway. And he's tugging. I should have helped him, right? I'm thinking, what a great idea for a story. I'm writing notes, I'm making notes, he's tugging the mask. And that's where that book came from.
Torturing children. Or just standing by while they're being tortured. Oops. Okay, so
a little water torture for you.
It's called karma. Okay, so, but what about writer's block? Have you ever had to deal with that?
No. I don't have time. No, applause for one more answer. I have to try that more often. Yeah, I don't have time for writer's block. At one point, you know, I was writing 12 Goosebumps books a year and 12 Fear Streets a year. I was doing a book every 2 weeks. So there's no time for writer's block. But seriously, I mean, this is a question that kids ask me all the time. And everyone hates my answer. But if you do enough planning first before you sit down to write, there's no way you can have writer's block. There's no way. I do an outline, a chapter-by-chapter outline of every book I write before I start to write it. And I have the ending, I know the ending, I know I start with chapter 1, this is what happens in chapter 1, this is how the chapter ends, this is chapter 2, and I do all the thinking first. I do the hard part. That's all the thinking. And so by the time I sit down to write the book, I know everything that's going to happen in the book. I've done the hard part. So then the writing is just easy. There's no way you can have writer's block because it's all planned out. Kids hate that answer. Well, everyone hates to outline, right? Everyone hates it. I can't work without it. I have a friend who wrote teen horror novels, and she was the exact opposite of me. She used to say, I don't want to know what happens when my character turns the corner. I want to be surprised. I couldn't work that way for anything.